You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
As a chef, I know flavor doesn't begin in the kitchen. It begins on the land. And Westhome's nature-led Australian Wagyu is a story written in the landscape of Northern Australia. Cooking is storytelling, and Westhome Wagyu carries a story of Northern Australia itself. Raw, powerful, and deeply authentic. It's a testament to the passion and care raised in the rhythm of Northern Australia. I'm Chef Maylin from 88 Club in Los Angeles, and I invite you to visit westhome.com/Maylin to learn more. And taste a story only Westhome nature-led Australian Wagyu can tell. That's westhome.com/MEILIN.
30 seconds to
What do you
air.
think about flowers for the show notes page?
These are for the guests.
Hey, I'm gonna need some more books for these mics.
Anyone have the promo for the show notes?
Wait, where's the Fiji water? Is this tap water?
15 seconds.
Somebody get the cat.
I can't drink tap
Grab
water.
the cat.
Can someone tell Joe's mom to stop vacuuming?
It's not hard to find.
Has anybody
This
seen
Fiji.
my hair gel?
Artesian water. Natural.
Quiet on the set. Live in 3, 2.
Live from Joe's mom's basement, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and prepare to get into that thing you keep telling everybody you're going to do, invest in real estate. Let's welcome investor and co-host of the Stacking Deeds Real Estate podcast, Crystal Hammond. Plus, a lady who knows a thing or two about investing herself, it's Paula Pant. And rounding out the panel is the genius behind the appliance every homeowner has, and I mean every homeowner, the inventor of the Instant Pot. Ah, never mind, he's out writing his book. I think he's on chapter 11. Instead, we sandwiched in Len Penzo. See what I did there? But that's not all. Halfway through the show, I'll share my out-of-this-world trivia question. And now, a guy who knows how to find a deal, it's Joe Saul-Sehy.
Especially a deal on used board games. That's where the money's made, Doug. I think that's where the money is.
Did you see the article recently about a new board game bar that opened up, and it said they have over 500 board games? And I thought, Joe's just got that in his basement closet. Like, he had to have laughed at this. Amateurs.
Yes. Isn't that cute? That's so cute. No, let's talk frugality for the win podcast, everybody. I'm Joe Saul-Sehy, Average Joe Money on Twitter. And we are not diving into the wonderful world of board games. We're diving into real estate, the game. So let's introduce the panel who's here with Doug and I today. The guy who's deep under Los Angeles in his real estate bunker, Mr. Len Penzo's here. How are you, man?
I'm great. I'm a little surprised you have me on this episode because you know I never bet on real estate. Never.
Well, that's actually why we have you on instead of OG, because we wanted the everyman, the kind of counter to the other two pros that are on the show.
I was kind of hoping you'd ask me why I never bet on real estate, Joe.
Oh, I totally swing and a miss.
I guess we need to rehearse this before the show starts. I never bet on real estate, Joe. I'm surprised you had me on the show.
Len, why don't you bet on real estate?
Because the house always wins.
Hold on, wait.
And Doug saying, yes, this has been much better if we...
So good. So good.
Should I do the credits now? Because everybody's about to check out of this show. Do you want me to just skip to the end? Because we're losing them.
Well, we're going to hurry on. And from the wonderful Manhattan, Mile High Real Estate. How many floors up are you, Paula? Paula Pant's here.
That's Manhattan, New York, not Manhattan, Kansas. Although I'm
not Manhattan.
Although both, I'm sure, are great. 20 stories high. And That's what I was going to say. Joe, you should, given the number of board games you have, just get a liquor license for your home.
Oh, there it is.
Right? Then
Yes.
your home could double as a board game bar.
Paula's got the side hustle down. But, Paula, I do have to ask, because you were talking about the difference between Manhattan, New York, and Manhattan, Kansas. How many times have you ever had to go, no, the other Manhattan? Like, have you had to do that before?
Not yet, but I mean, middle America is rising, growing bigger and more popular than ever.
You're not talking to enough K-State fans then, I guess. That must be the deal.
Not yet. I'm sure people from Portland have to do that. Which Portland? No, the one in Maine.
I actually have a friend who bought a ticket accidentally to the wrong Portland and went there and loved it. Just decided we bought the wrong ticket. Let's go. So that was their first trip to Portland, Oregon.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Had a great time. Speaking of fantastic, guess who's here, Paula?
Who's here?
Crystal Hammond is here from So Fabulous and, of course, our sister show, Stacking Deeds. How are you, Crystal?
I'm wonderful. How's everybody doing? Like, speaking of betting, the casinos during the pandemic, they had to fix all the games so that they made a large amount of money on a smaller population of people. So Len knows the house always wins. Like, literally. This is public information, too. You can look this up.
See, thank you, Chris. Crystal actually learned something from my little joke. While you guys were all mocking me, Crystal actually learned something.
Who would mock your jokes, Len? Nobody would. By the way, Crystal, you and Len were both at the first FinCon together. Paula, were you at the first FinCon?
I was there too. Yeah, Schaumburg, Illinois.
Yep, Schaumburg.
2011.
How about that?
Yeah, how many people were there? There was like 20 of us.
There were around 200.
Yeah.
Was there?
Yeah.
That should be the trivia question.
Yeah.
Well, that's when you guys need to band together and go, I think there were 3.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah.
I feel like this is that first REM concert where there were actually, it was in a basement and there were like 75 people there, but like 75,000 have told Michael Stipe they were all there for the very first one.
Totally. I was there. I was totally there.
Totally there.
Crystal, for people that haven't heard it yet, tell everybody about the Stacking Deeds podcast. What happens?
So you get to learn all about buying your first piece of investment property. We want people to get out of the comfort zone. Like, we want people to learn from stories of, hey, I want to get into real estate investing. How do I do that? And I am a part-timer, so I love my full-time job. So I'm just in it as a part-timer investing in real estate. And if this girl from the south side of Chicago can do it, anybody can do it. So we're just sharing a lot of stories of how people are doing it.
You can find it where better podcasts are distributed. That's everywhere. We've got Crystal here. We got Len here.
Oh, you have your badge from the first FinCon.
Wait,
for those.
You have it like with you at your desk such that you didn't actually have to get out of your chair to produce it?
Len.
we get a life, man.
I kept all my badges. I kept all my FinCon badges.
But literally within arm's reach?
Right.
Yes, Paula, if you'd have stopped by my house when you were out here in Southern California last year, you'd have seen that.
Hold on a second, guys. While we talk to Len about the problems with hoarding, everybody can listen to this. Hold on. I had a breakfast mentoring meeting yesterday with a young woman who was just amazing. She is graduating from college with a degree in wealth management, and she reached out hoping for some pointers. And listen, if somebody's in Texarkana and wants to go into this beautiful field of personal finance and helping people get their money together, that is incredible. But even more incredible is how she reached out, how she was trying to network. And I was having a discussion that finding the right person and avoiding the wrong person for a role, that's what can make or break an organization. And we just don't see that many qualified people. So how do you find them? Well, Indeed sponsored jobs is a boost whenever you need to find quality talent. If you're hiring, Indeed is all you need. You can stop struggling to get your job post even seen on other sites. You'll match with quality candidates with Indeed's sponsored jobs. Get matched with and hire quality candidates who can drive the results you need. Reach candidates who meet your specific criteria like skills, certifications, or location. It drives me crazy when I'm matched with all kinds of people who aren't a fit. I don't have that kind of time. People are finding quality hires on Indeed right now. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed are 95% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all the boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored job. And here's what's cool, Stackers. You're going to get $75 in sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support Stacking Benjamins by saying you heard about Indeed right here at Stacking Benjamins. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. Len, hold on. That's only half of it. Let's give people one more while we finish this. But after that, Len, in business, there is no room for guesswork. Every shipment matters. Every deadline counts. And when you're trying to keep operations running smoothly, the last thing you need is uncertainty. That's why reliability is at the core of USPS Ground Advantage. From the moment your package is first scanned in, it moves through a secure nationwide network, aiding in a timely and accurate delivery. You get near real-time tracking so you can keep up with your shipments. And with affordable upfront pricing, there are no hidden fees or surprise surcharges to throw off your cost sheets. It all adds up to predictable deliveries you can depend on, because knowing your logistics are handled lets you focus on everything else, your customers, your team, and the future you're building. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to start shipping with confidence. USPS Ground Advantage. We mean business. So, Len, that's why you don't keep all that stuff in your desk. It's a fire hazard.
I think Len has been banished to just one room, so he has all of his stuff just in that one space.
Is that why Len stopped going to FinCon? Was because he had too much stuff at the desk?
Swag. It's called swag. There you go. Correct.
Len's about to pull out some Ally Bank cookies.
The pancake.
I do have a few of those things.
Oh, goodness. They're petrified.
We got Len Penzo here, right, with his petrified cookies. Crystal Hammond's here. Paula Pant's here. Let's get the party started. This piece, which we found on Entrepreneur Magazine, written by Ari Shazanaz, which sounds like a made-up name, Shazanaz. Doesn't it? That's a great name. I want that name.
Didn't Mork say that when he stubbed his toe? Didn't he go Shazanaz?
I don't know. But Ari Shazanaz writes, few industries are better for first-time investors than real estate. Here are 4 proven ways to make a profit. Well, we're going to dive into these 4 ways a little later in the show. But, Chris, I want to start with you. Few industries are better for first-time investors than real estate. When you think of places to invest, do you agree with that statement that real estate's the first place to look, or close to the first place to look?
I feel like it's the path of least resistance. I think it has a low barrier to entry. And we talk about this on the show all the time. We all need somewhere to live, right? And that's one thing. And a second thing, we've all had horrible landlords. We can do a better job, a 10 times better job than 90% of our landlords. So since we all need a place to live, I think owning the place to live and then being a landlord for others, being an example, that's a path of least resistance, because you're just buying a house and then you're going to rent it out, or buying an apartment. You can live in one unit and you can rent out the other unit.
Len, I don't think you've ever been a landlord. Have you? Have you ever been a landlord?
I'm trying to think back in college. Did I? No. I've never had them.
Well, you charged your kids rent when they were 9 years old, so that counts, Len.
Len's like, I was in college. I was just experimenting with real estate.
No. I told you I don't bet on the house, Joe.
Len's
Did you know horrible landlords? Did you have a horrible landlord?
You know what? I used to live next door to a slumlord. I did. There was a slumlord lived next door to me.
But Len, do you think then, as somebody who hasn't invested in real estate, do you agree with this title? Few industries better for first-time investors than real estate.
Well, I would say it depends if you're talking about, I don't know. I guess, frankly, you can't argue with real estate. The returns over the long term are phenomenal. I do believe that if you're just starting out, you might want to try something actually with a lower barrier to entry than real estate. That also shows good long-term returns. But
like what? Like what would that be? What are you talking about?
I think the stock market. The stock market shows good long and it doesn't take, $100 or $200 or $300,000 loan to get in. But I'm not going to sit here and say that real estate has poor returns, because the evidence shows that it has great returns if you're, willing to hold.
And you only need 3% down. You don't need the whole 100, 200, 300,000.
But still, it's a lot more, Crystal, on the table than an index fund.
But that's like your security deposit.
Yeah. What do you mean? The 3% down?
Yeah.
Or the amount? No, I'm saying you can get into an index fund, though, way cheaper, though, than you can into a piece of primary property.
Oh, yeah, that's
Paula,
true.
where do you come down on that?
I don't think it's particularly good for the majority of beginners, because I think the majority of beginners don't know what they're doing, assume that they know how to make money in real estate, and due to their lack of education, they make huge, huge mistakes. And what I mean by this is a lot of people think that because they can do something at the personal amateur level, they assume that means they'll be able to make money at it. In no other industry do we routinely do this. We don't assume that because we know how to play tennis on the weekends, that means we know how to play pro tennis. We don't assume that because we know how to cook our own dinner, that means we know how to be a chef, a professional chef. We don't assume that because we can drive a car, that qualifies us to drive at the Indy 500.
Unless you're Doug.
There are a lot of people.
Sorry.
I don't know. Doug's like, I'm in Indianapolis right now. But yet with housing, we assume that just because we have purchased a personal residence for ourselves, or we know someone who has, that means that we know what we're doing. And I see a lot of people make these mistakes. They'll think, oh, if the rent covers the mortgage, I'll be fine. Or they don't know what cap rate means. Or they don't have some kind of a critical opinion about the relative merits of cash on cash return, right? If you don't know the basics, then you should learn first.
But you know what, Paula? Here's one thing I'll say about that, and you're absolutely right. But I think a lot of people get misled by, I'll say, the media. I will hear on the radio or see on TV ads for get into this, real estate, make a quick dollar and do this. Or people watch those home flipping shows and stuff on TV, and they make it look so easy. They don't show how, all the work that really goes into it and all the risks that could come up. So I think a lot of people get misled into thinking that it's easy,
Well, if you use TV as your teacher, you're gonna
well,
fail.
Of course.
I mean, and that's true of pretty much anything. If you think that you can watch, a television show in which all of the characters are like buff and jacked and like, super, super fit, but then you watch their daily habits on the TV show, and they're never meal prepping, they're never working out, they're never doing anything. They just like were born ripped, I mean, it's like, it's completely fictional. It's fictionalized.
Yes.
That's literally what television is.
But does that mean, though, Paula, because back to Crystal's point, there's some really crappy landlords out there. You actually even made that point. There's a bunch of idiots that invest in real estate. We talk about the stock market, about being an efficient market. Does that mean in real estate, because of the moron factor, that it isn't an efficient market, which means this headline may be correct, that it is a good place with a little education to make some money?
I do think it's an inefficient market, but I don't think it's because of the moron factor. Because the reality is that the number of individual investors who are landlords is relatively incredibly small compared to the number of institutional investors who own both multifamily and single family homes. I'm thinking about Blackstone. I'm thinking Invitation Homes, right? I'm thinking about these private equity backed corporate landlords that really drive a big piece of the market. So shadow banking is where you see the majority of rental ownership, particularly post-Great Recession. And that has its own inefficiencies. That has its own problems. But that's not the moron factor at the mom and pop level.
I also come down as I read this, I thought the title was ridiculous. In so many of these media titles, they just make it sound way easier than it is, which is why I think you need to have good information when you get started. I certainly don't know that I need to know what's going on with shadow banking to make to become a good landlord to buy a couple properties. But if we compared it to another side gig, so instead of talking about it as an investment, instead we talk about it as a side gig. At the risk of having Paula dominate the first few minutes of this show, I just want to go back to you because you were the voice on one end. If we compare it to a different side gig, is that better than comparing it to a different investment?
I think at a minimum, when you use the word side gig, not that I would agree with that statement, even if you were to substitute those words, but at a minimum, the phrase side gig at least implies that you're going to some extent, have to learn what you're doing. Like, even if you love candles, if you wanted to learn how to open an e-commerce store so that you could sell candles on Etsy or eBay or Amazon, you would most likely, I would hope, maybe take an online course about how to run an Amazon shop, right? You would read a few books about it. You would learn the mechanics of it. And so I think that at a minimum, there is, with that substitution, some implication of you have to actually learn what you're doing. This is, to be able to make money at something is a very different ballgame than just doing it at the personal level for your own personal consumption.
And I definitely agree with Paula. So my view of what a side hustle is, it's like you want to get paid for doing something that you already do. It's something you already like, you already love, but you do need to take classes and get education on how to make money, how to set up your store, how to run your business. And that's the same for real estate for me. My mentality is you already need a place to stay, so why not provide housing for you and others? And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to set up your business. You're going to surround yourself with people that are doing it already, that are making money from it already, that are good at it. And they're going to give you the advice, the tools, or you're going to go to school for it to learn the proper ways so that you don't make mistakes, or you hear about all the mistakes and you get to learn from them and you have your systems in place that are foolproof.
Well, Crystal,
you're not a fool.
I know. In your headline segment, you guys go through some of the, speaking about the moron factor, about people that don't treat it like they need to be educated, like in the horror stories of people that get in over their head.
Well, there are, and we love, like, in the industry, people, insiders, we love to share horror stories for people to learn. We love to share when we get screwed by people. Hey, these are the people to avoid. These are companies that we've had these particular experiences with. It doesn't say you're going to have the same experience, but now you at least know, hey, before you go in, before you get a contract, here are some questions you need to ask, or here are some terms you need to include in certain orders or work orders, or, you know, how you're going to do business. And even tenants, there's things that you can put in leases. You can say, you can't paint my walls Technicolor, you know, so you can add whatever you want to your lease. I'm not
staying there.
And you want to filter people out. So it's a matter of filtering for, you know, your preferences, because you want to make your life as easy and cookie cutter as possible, I would say, because, you know, oh, look at Paula's cat. Sorry.
Cameo, cat cam.
Yeah, you want to make things as seamless as possible. Like, no news is good news, no surprises. Like, you want to plan for a scenario, plan A, B, C, D, and just have a plan for it. Hey, if a pipe bursts, here's my plan for it. This is the plumber I'm going to call, and this is the amount of money I set aside per month just for emergencies or pipe bursts. Because if I'm buying a brand new house, I don't expect a pipe to burst. But if I'm buying an old home, you know, I need to set aside money for...
Which I think, Len, brings me back to my rant earlier about Ari's title here. Few industries are better for first-time investors than real estate. Both Crystal and Paula talked about all these things that could go wrong. I could go buy an index fund. Like, I just would wish that sometimes real estate investors would realize that this phrase passive income we use when we talk about buying real estate property is complete BS. It's not passive. It isn't passive at all.
It's not. I have a good friend who he has, when he sold his condo many years ago, he said he decided, well, instead of selling it, he decided that he would rent it because he bought a new home. And so, and he's had that thing for 20 years, and he's had some, I mean, yes, he's had side income from it, but boy, he's had some issues over the years. He had a tenant that completely destroyed the inside of his condo. I mean, by the time he got the guy out, all the fixtures were ruined. The rugs were destroyed. The walls had holes in them. And it took him like 6 months just to get that thing to even, and a lot of money to get it looking good. And I was thinking, my God, is that really worth all the headaches? And I'm the type of person, I'm not that handy around the house. And I don't want to, to me, it's a lot of work. Obviously you can make money at it. And many people do. But I think there's a lot of other ways to make money on the side. I think for new investors, I think there's way less expensive, less risky avenues to get into for investing. So
there's obviously a lot to like about real estate. Paula, what is it we should be selling? If we're selling, instead of selling it as best place for beginners to begin, what should we be selling about real estate investing that you don't see enough?
So it is the type of asset that you buy when you want an income play or, something that's analogous to a dividend play. It is a cash producing asset. That form of return has a very different composition, meaning when you buy any asset, that asset is going to earn returns in one of two ways. Either it's going to go up in value, which is called appreciation, or it's going to produce an income stream, which is sometimes known as a dividend. Or in the case of housing, that's your rental income, including principal pay down. There's cash flow. One is going into the form of equity growth. The other is going into literal cash in your bank account. But either way, you're getting income from that, right? So when you buy assets, generally, you ultimately want to have a mix of different types of assets. Some assets, you want that appreciation play. You want to be the person who bought NVIDIA back in 2020, right? Just to enjoy the appreciation, right? That's one characteristic of one type of asset. Real estate just has a very different set of characteristics. And so if you want some diversification in your portfolio, real estate is a way to achieve that.
Crystal, I think you and I might have gotten into real estate in a similar way. Tell us your real estate story. How did you become a landlord?
Well, I became a landlord. It was funny. So the apartment that I grew up in was the landlord was selling it. My mom still lived in one of the units. And it was weird because friends of mine went to real estate meetings and I was like, can I go with you to your meetings? I just wanted to meet someone. And I was like, hey, can you buy this building and not raise my mom's rent? That was my goal. And they were like, why don't you buy it? And that's how I ended up buying the building. Someone was just like, why don't you buy so I ended up buying it. My mom lived in a unit. I lived in a unit. So, we were both paying super cheap mortgage. Like her rent went down, mine went way down. So it was a huge win-win situation for me. But yeah, that's how I ended up getting my first piece of real estate, my first duplex.
But At that point, based on all the things that you need to know, to then take that and then parlay that into being even more of a landlord, I would think that your engineering brain had to kick in, and now you're trying to learn all this stuff afterwards.
Oh yeah, I had to take a landlord class, I learned a lot during that class. And that first meeting that I went to, it was a real estate roundtable. So I went to more and more meetings every single month when they had their meetings. I went to every meeting and I learned from all the people that were in the industry, in the know, they would talk about the rehabs they were doing or whatever projects they were working on, what they closed on, and how much everything cost. So I surrounded myself with people who were in real estate and giving me numbers of, oh, this is the zip code and this is how much rent I'm charging in this neighborhood. This is where I go to find tenants, So it was just an information sharing kind of meeting amongst a small group that were there every week. And if anybody was dumb enough to screw over anybody in the meeting, they wouldn't be back, and that word would get around. So it was I started by just saying, hey, I have a real estate problem. Let me find some real estate people in my comfort zone, my friend zone to help with it.
Len, do you see yourself now, as an experienced investor and someone that finally maybe has some time on their hands, do you see yourself going into rental real estate?
No, the only thing I see myself doing, me personally in real estate, when the time comes for me to sell this house, I think what I'm going to try and do is sell this house to somebody and have them carry back the loan. So that way, that'll be kind of like just a different way of handling things. That's the only thing I would do.
Are you saying you want to be the mortgage holder? What are you saying?
Yeah, I'd be the mortgage holder. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're Len the slumlord. Is that what you're saying?
And then I'm
Is that what you're saying?
We'll see. I don't know. It's just something you know what? I'll leave it to the pros. I'll leave it to Paula and Crystal and everybody else to do that stuff. That's just not my thing.
So Crystal, how much did you jack up the rent on Mom?
No, I did not. I did not have to. The mortgage was so low. I was like, wow, these people hadn't had a mortgage for years and they were still collecting the same amount of rent too.
Yeah, but
that's another beauty.
It doesn't stop some people from going, hey, Mom, I don't know what happened. I don't know. I don't, sorry. Yeah, we just have to raise the rent.
No.
Coming up next, we're going to dive into their 4 different ways that they talk about buying real estate. We're going to dive into those as well. Everything from flipping to house hacking to more. So we will do those in just a moment. But at the halfway point of every show, if you're brand new here, we have this fairly ridiculous trivia competition year-long competition between our 3 frequent contributors, our co-host OG, who has the week off. So Crystal, you are on Team OG this week. Mr. Penzo and Ms. Paula Pant. And Crystal, we've got some good news and some bad news for you about the score so far. Which one would you like first?
I would like the bad news.
Well, the bad news is that OG has won the last 2 years in a row, but he is not in first place now. He is tied for second, which means you are going to,
we're not Crystal.
You are going to be picking second. Len has 9, which means he's going to go first. OG with 7, his former champ. That means he has to guess ahead of Paula, who also has 7. Paula's been back for 2 weeks, is still not descended into last place, which is like a high five for Paula.
Not last place.
But to
Only
answer
tied for last.
To see, well, it's tied for second. Let's phrase it on the positive end. Glass is half full, Paula. Yes.
Tied for second out of 3.
But to find out who's going to win this week's competition, we need to have a question, and Doug's got that. Doug, what's today's trivia question?
Hey there, stackers. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and something big is going down here in the neighborhood. Somebody new is moving in, but not just anybody. It's a woman. And if Joe's mom isn't lying, she's single. It's about time. We need a lady to class up this dude burb. I've got to mark this day on the calendar so I'll remember our anniversary. Speaking of the other big days with a bang, today in 1908, an unidentified object believed to be an asteroid caused a 12-megaton explosion. Kind of like Len's last trip to Taco Bell. But this was near... Hold on, I can't pronounce this. It was near the Podkamennaya Tunguska River in Russia. There's vodka nearby, and flattened an estimated 80 million trees. Well, that rings true. The incident is known as the Tunguska Event, which is the largest impact in recorded history, even though there's no impact crater because it's believed the object exploded 3 to 6 miles above the Earth. It's estimated that the asteroid was 160 to 200 feet in size and traveled at a speed of 60,000 miles per hour before leveling everything in its path for miles. You guys were taking notes, right? There's a lot of numbers in there. Did you carry the 1? Okay.
No.
But here's the question. How many square miles of land did the asteroid destroy? I'll be back right after I go ask my new neighbor if she needs help assembling her furniture. You know, maybe tables, chairs, possibly a bed or 2. What? It's the neighborly thing to do. Don't look at me like that.
Oh boy, nothing better than having Doug scare away the new neighbor already on day 1. Thank you very much. But we won't go into that. Let's chat about this trivia question. Len, you have the honor of going first. 60,000 miles an hour asteroid blew up between 160 and 3 to 6 miles above Earth.
How many miles or acres? Miles? Square
How
miles?
many square miles of land did it destroy?
I'd say... I have no idea. If I say 50 miles by 50 miles, what is that? That's, would that be right? Would that make sense? 50 miles by 50 miles? Yeah, let me just go up. I'll just make the math easier. 100 miles by 100 miles would be, what's that? 100 times 100. Add 0. Well, so that's 10,000.
10,000 miles?
10,000 were square miles, right?
Yep.
And then I'll split the difference. 7,500 square miles.
7,500 square miles. Crystal, what are you thinking?
Let's see. I'm thinking bigger because you did mention Taco Bell. Place is gross. Definitely bigger than that if someone's going to Taco Bell. So definitely on the scale of, I like how you were doing the math there, Len. So I'm going to go with 50,000 square miles because that is, I feel like, yeah, beans. Oh, yeah. Imagine some beans coming at you at 60,000 miles per hour.
Horrifying. Yeah. It's horrifying. That's a bad day.
That's my final answer, 50,000.
Len, if you had a day like that where you blew up 50,000 square miles.
Ask his plumber. His very well paid plumber.
I do have a Taco Bell card in my wallet. I'll say that.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so is my
well,
family.
Paula, with those two, you got 7,500 and 50,000. You've got a wide field goal there.
Yeah, I sure do. So you said 80,000 trees were decimated. Is that right?
80 million.
80 million.
Oh,
80 million trees.
80
Gosh, that was a key.
million.
That was a key. I should have listened to that a little more closely. If I had known that, 80 million trees. My goodness.
80 million.
80 million trees.
I guess I missed that part.
Len, have you ever killed 80 million trees after going to Taco Bell?
Okay, well, if it's 8, because I'm just thinking about how much space would 80 million trees take up.
Yeah, exactly. I totally missed that.
Who measured?
They estimated.
Yeah. What if it was only 79
Who
million?
counted the trees?
Yeah.
Right.
You know what they said? They said there's normally this many trees in a square mile of land, and it's this many square miles, and that's how many trees got decimated.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sure.
So truly, this boils down to how many trees are in a square mile of land. And I don't know the answer to that, so that doesn't help at all. More than one.
I do love, though, while you're wondering, Paula, I do love Crystal making under protest. Who counted? Like she wants the name. Bill counted.
It's not
Bill,
accurate.
Bill
Can't be.
counted Crystal. It was Bill.
I'm coming for you, Bill.
Crystal, your answer was 50,000?
50,000.
50,000 square miles.
Probably undershot.
I'm going to capture the upside, so 50,001.
50,001. Paula using the same methodology she's used for years, and it hasn't worked yet. So,
right, we'll see.
Today could be today could be the day. Yes, we're going to let you know in just a second. But before we let you know, we should probably tell you about this.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
You didn't start a business just to keep the lights on. You're here to sell more today than yesterday. You're here to win. Lucky for you, Shopify built the best converting checkout on the planet. Like the just one tapping, ridiculously fast acting, sky-high sales stacking, champion of checkouts. That's the good stuff right there. So if your business is in it to win it, win with Shopify. Start your free trial today at shopify.com/win.
Len, you kicked this shindig off with 7,500 square miles. What are you thinking?
Yeah, that's terrible. I think I way underestimated. I totally missed. I must have blacked out when Doug was talking about the 80 million trees because I think I would have come in way higher if that was. But what are you going to do?
Crystal, 50,000, but Paula took the upside. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it's way higher. And similar to Len, when people tell long stories, I lose interest. So I need the abbreviated version. I remember the first thing and the last
thing. It is amazing how Crystal Hammond can lose interest halfway through a story, but she can notice the cat very quickly.
Yeah, that woke me up.
Point out the difference. And Paula, you've got 50,001.
Yeah, well, as soon as he said the number of trees, I was like, that's going to be important. But then I thought it was 80,000. So I'm glad that we clarified that it's actually 80 million.
Well, was it as important as we thought? Only one person knows. Doug, who's our winner?
Hey there, stackers. I'm welcome wagon driver and home inspector, Joe's mom's neighbor Doug. I'm talking about one of the biggest impacts in recorded history, known as the Tunguska Event, where an asteroid with the wingspan of a Boeing 777 exploded a few miles above a sparsely populated area of Russia along the Tunguska River before it hit Earth. The shockwave knocked people off their feet hundreds of miles from the explosion. Again, we're back to Len at Taco Bell. My question was, how many square miles of land did the asteroid destroy? Well, this was a really close one. Our contestants here really zeroed in on a great mathematical equation. Paula was only off by 49,171 square miles, which means Crystal was off by 49,170. But this is the shocker. Len was only off by 6,670 square miles because the answer, you spatially challenged people, was 830 square miles. Or to put it in money terms, it destroyed over $1 billion worth of timber. Listen, 830 square miles is sort of like what? 40 by 40?
I don't know.
That's about the size of Joe's property in his at his house where he lives there, right?
I thought that was going to be another game collection joke. It's about the size of Joe's game collection. Like,
Yes.
come on. No.
If you stack all his games up,
Probably.
that's how tall it is.
Probably not. Len Penzo pulls further ahead.
Wow.
Congrats.
Yeah,
Congrats.
so just picture an impact area 40 miles from where you are and 20 miles wide. That's 800 square miles. That's still a pretty major
That's a lot of trees.
piece of land.
that many trees.
Yeah, but you were selling it, Doug. You were selling it. You were like, oh, it's
80
this big and blah, 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 blah,
I'm a
blah.
professional, Len. It's what I do.
80 million trees?
Maybe if you think of like a vineyard, think of a wine. I guess trees are close together.
I found out we lost trees at one of the golf courses in Texarkana. We lost, I think it was like 350 trees on the golf course. And I was out there a month afterwards and didn't notice a tree missing. Like it was, there were so many trees gone, but there's far more trees, I think, than we know. I think is might be the point here. I don't know. The bigger point is, let's move on. How about that? The
Yes,
second
let's.
half of this discussion is brought to you by depositaccounts.com. Paula, you know what happens when you go to depositaccounts.com?
You find out that the ordinary deposit accounts that you get are nowhere near the best in class?
Nowhere near. Amen, sister. Savings accounts right now, according to depositaccounts.com. This is just over a week before people are going to hear it. Top 1% paying 4.44% APY. Top CDs, top 1%, 5.35%. Listen to this, that national average 3.41% versus 5.35 versus 3. Wow. Jeez.
Leave that in, Steve.
Yeah, it's not so easy, is it, Joe?
Versus 5.35% APY for CDs. Checking accounts, top 1% average, 2.43%. Money markets, 4.23% for the top 1%. Head to depositaccounts.com and let's get that savings account moving at least a little bit. Try to keep up with inflation a little, people. All right, speaking of keeping up, we are going to keep up with the 4 top ways of investing in real estate that they have in this piece. Let's dive into these. Number 1 on this list they have is house hacking. Paula, would you say house hacking the number 1 place, easiest place for a new person to start in real estate?
100% yes. Because with house hacking, and to people who aren't familiar with that term, that's the process of buying a property and renting out a portion of it. So it might be that you buy, for example, a duplex, you live in one unit, you rent out the other. It might be that you buy a single family home and you just rent out the other bedrooms to roommates. Could be that you buy a 4-plex and you rent out 3 of the other units.
Wait. I think I get it, Paul. So if I have a 5-plex, I can rent out 4?
Well, you could, but you're going to have a hard time getting a 5-plex because 5 units is considered a commercial property. And so you would need a completely different type of loan. You would need a commercial loan.
Oh, my goodness.
Len tried to come in and be all sarcastic, and you just threw it down.
Steve,
I love
Steve,
it.
cut that and we'll start over.
I thought I had the algorithm too, Len. I thought I saw the algorithm.
No, for residential, you max out at 4, which is why, Joe, to your original question, why house hacking is a great place for a beginner. is because you can get that residential loan as long as you are buying 4 or fewer units. You can get the same type of loan that you would get as any type of primary resident owner occupant. And that's the easiest type of loan to qualify for. So you get an owner occupant loan. You can still rent out up to the other 3 units. And in terms of the lending that you need, in terms of the down payment that you need, that is the lowest barrier to entry to getting started.
And I agree with, too, that this is the best. Well, we talked about this on a show, too. This won our March Madness, not to ruin the surprise episode. But also, a lot of people don't know when you want to do like your first home as a home hack, too, you qualify for programs. That first place that I bought, it was no money down. I qualified by income to have a no money down. And a lot of the programs, as long as it's residential, like Paula just said, 4 units or below, you can get money down payment assistance. So I didn't have to put money down. I got money back at the closing. Shh, don't tell my mom. But I got money back at the closing to actually buy that property. I ended up, the money that I did put down, I got it back at closing because they're like, hey, you qualify for a program for buying this, your first property. The government wants you to buy property. That's just another case for real estate.
You know, there were 4 real estate investors on that show. Crystal, you do part-time. Your co-host, Alan Corey, who 300 and how many doors does he have?
Yeah. Over 340 or 80s by now.
Yes. And then
and we had Mindy Jensen from Bigger Pockets.
Tom Brickman
from Frugal Gay.
Yes. Who were on that episode. People want to go back and listen to 16 different ways to buy property. And then you guys have them all go head to head. Second is long-term rentals. Len, this seems like an easy way to also get started. Buy a house, rent it out to somebody long-term. Sounds like something you could even do.
Yeah, and I think
even Len could do it. It's so easy. Even Len could do it.
You know what? If you hit the lottery, right? So my father-in-law rented for many years, and he was one of those great tenants that I think every landlord loves. He would do all the maintenance work, and the guy was on time with his payments. And because he was such a good tenant, you know, his rent never went up in like 15 years. His landlord appreciated him so much. If I could get a tenant like that, I would definitely do it. But I'm afraid I would get the tenant that would squat on the place, and then it would take me 2 years to evict him. And so that way, that's why I would just stay out. But boy, if you could get a great tenant, I couldn't think of anything better than a long-term rent. Well, it's just gravy, the money would be coming in.
I made all the mistakes. I also was very uneducated, and I had 2 different tenants, and I had one of each of those, Len. I had one that was absolutely horrible and one that fixed everything. If I could get the one that fixed everything, that would be great.
Great.
Well, now they do. They have people in places that's their specialty, is helping find great tenants. Because I always used a realtor. I already knew I didn't want to do screening. I didn't want to do showings and stuff like that. So I happily paid a realtor. And also that's what insurance is for too. Just insure yourself against bad tenants. If you want extra peace of mind, get extra, So there are ways to, I'm just, still selling real estate.
So let me ask you, Crystal, how important is credit? I hear credit scores for renting is very important. Like if you want to rent, is that true or is that not true?
I think it's true because evictions would show up on a credit. But I've had an eviction actually, and I'm a homeowner. And way early in college days, I was evicted. So it happens to good people, bad people. That's why you have to be, a good judge. And I outsourced it to someone who reads that stuff better than I can. So right now, I don't trust myself trying to find tenants. I happily pay my realtor that I love to help me find tenants. So just outsource the stuff you don't want to do. Like you don't have to be a handyman. You don't have to be a numbers person. You don't have to be an accountant. You can have someone else do all the numbers. You can have someone else do all the tenant screening, all the cleaning.
Yeah, but I think everybody's got to, you have to realize that takes money off the top. And then the difference between that and just buying an index fund becomes even less, right? I mean, I start looking at, okay, I buy this place, I get rid of all the cash flow because I hand it over to all these professionals. And then why didn't I just buy an index fund?
And then another thing, you can have your own property management company. Why don't you pay yourself in a property management company, but you still have your employees? So that doesn't mean it's not you. It means it's your property management company.
We would recommend this as a hack for people paying kids' way through college. If you happen to own a house in the college town, have your child be your property manager. Now they would have to do the work, but instead of paying directly for the tuition, you would pay them and they would pay the tuition. So instead of paying the tuition at mom and dad's rate, all of a sudden the tuition's being paid at the kid's rate. They have to do the work though. Paul, I want to ask you about this. For long-term rentals, Ari writes, the location is key. You need to choose areas with strong rental markets, considering factors like job growth. He really spends a lot of time on location being key. Do you think that's the main key if you're going into long-term rentals?
Location is key, but I don't think job growth is necessarily what you're looking for. What you're looking for, first and foremost, is the price to rent ratio, meaning what are the prices of properties in that area and what do they rent for and what is the relationship between them? In a place like Manhattan, New York.
Oh, the New York one.
Yes. In
the other one.
Exactly. Versus Manhattan, Kansas.
Yeah, the one we all think of first. Yes.
Right. Exactly. You're going to have very different price to rent ratios. And that means that the relative attractiveness of those properties as an investment, I haven't looked at the Manhattan, Kansas numbers, but I'm going to guess that Manhattan, Kansas is most likely a more attractive place to own a long-term investment from a landlord's perspective than Manhattan, New York, precisely because of the price to rent ratio. So that's what you want to be searching for.
But being a college town, that may be different than a lot of other towns in Kansas.
It could be. Again, I haven't looked at Manhattan, Kansas. I'm not knowledgeable specifically about Manhattan, Kansas, but just because I'm using that as an example to highlight that just because a particular town isn't the next Miami or the next Austin, right? It doesn't have to be the next big tech hub, or the next like sexy crypto destination. You simply need a stable enough population so such that you will find renters, right? You can't have a city that people are fleeing from in droves, but you need a stable enough population. And then beyond that, you need a good price to rent ratio.
Let's go over the next one. Stick with you for a second, Paula. Fix and flip. Good for a beginner?
Jeez. No, absolutely not. I think that's a terrible idea for a beginner.
Why is that?
Whew. Okay. When you're a buy and hold investor, if I make a $10,000 mistake, but I'm going to hold that property for 30 years, my $10,000 mistake is going to be amortized over the 30 years I hold that property, which means in the long term, it's not going to be so bad. When you are in the fix and flip game, you're going to hold a property for a very short period of time, maybe 3, 4, or 5 months. During that period of time, you have renovation costs, you have holding costs. Holding costs include the cost of paying the loan on the property while you have it, the cost of capital. You have insurance costs. You have all
property
kinds of
taxes.
Bills. Exactly. Prorated property taxes that you have to pay. There are, in addition to just the renovation costs, which is what everybody thinks about, there are a lot of holding costs that people don't often think about, but that are present. And on top of that, you're also paying transaction costs both at the buy and the sell side. Now, if you yourself have a real estate license, then sure, you might be able to get around that by paying yourself. But still, with the transaction costs and the holding costs and the reno costs, it's very easy for your margins to get squeezed down to zero or down into negative territory. And because you don't have the benefit of time on your side, right? Doing something that's the short time horizon is far less forgiving.
Well, and I also think, Crystal, that, how many times have you and Alan talked about having a great team in place? If you're brand new, you haven't had time to get that team in place. Like you're going to make a mistake picking your contractors.
There's no way. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend the flip to new investors because you need way too many people because you need an amazing inspector that's going to find everything that you're going to need fixed. Then you're going to need like the electrician, plumber, contract. Like there's so many people you're going to need and it's such a small time frame to find them. Like Paula said, you're making mortgage payments in this time that no one's living there. And another thing, that's one thing I hate when I'm watching these fix and flip shows. It's true. They have this glorified, first of all, they have this camera crew. They've found perfect crews and they have all these outtakes of, that's why there's such a seamless process. Then they'll be like, oh yeah, we did this 180-day flip and we made $4,000. And I'm like, that's not even a lot of money to make within that time frame. So after they pay all those costs, it's like they're like a temporary holding place for all this cash that goes out to all these other people. I wouldn't recommend a flip for a beginner. Like, no.
Len, and this seems like something that'd be on the Len Penzo blog, because it just seems like for a beginner, you watch these shows that Crystal's talking about, like the Property Brothers or Love It or List It or any of these shows. They just make it, Len, look so easy. Who are the people in Waco? Gaines.
Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Yeah, Chip and Joanna. I mean, they show these houses and it just looks like, hey, I could do this. It feels kind of like a trap for a beginner more than an opportunity.
Yeah, and it's happening a lot because you know what? Some of these flipping shows now, they're actually showing flipping shows where people are getting into trouble. I think because it's happening more frequently. I can't think of the names of the shows that are out there, but there are those, and it's just they make it look so easy. And if you look really close, some of this they're doing so fast. They're doing these renos so fast. The craftsmanship, if you look real closely, it's really not that good. They are trying so hard to flip something so fast.
Yep.
And I just don't think, in a really fast rising market, you can get away with that. But when things start to slow down, I think buyers will start recognizing that and demand better quality work. So there's that risk as well.
We just had Jonathan Clements on the show on Monday, and a story from his book that he just released was from a certified financial planner who bought a house and found out that the people, Len, to your point, that had bought the house were flippers, and a lot of there was so much structural damage that they did not realize when they bought the house. Even their inspector did not find the structure.
Well, there's a lot of people that they're buying. I don't think not so much anymore, but a couple of years ago, people were buying houses sight unseen. They were just buying the house. And then they would find out, oh my God, what did I just buy here? The house, it needs a complete like you said, the foundation's cracked or something ridiculous, and then they've really got themselves in a mess. So yeah, I mean, it's one thing to be a pro and invest, and it's another thing to think, oh, I can do this. And because these shows make it look so easy, and then you get into a whole lot of trouble. You do a stock fund or something, you can get out with a lot less pain. Whereas if you do something in real estate and you make a mistake, to what Paula said, if you're going to hold it for 30 years, you amortize the losses. But boy, it can be very painful.
And this is just the thing, like we're recommending not starting here as a beginner, but as a pro, you have more tools. Like you have more people, behind your back that can fix things. And a pro will know how to negotiate because they can buy a place unseen and they know no matter how bad the foundation is or no matter, how bad XYZ is, I know how to fix it at a certain price point where I'm buying it right and it's going to be an amazing deal.
Yeah. And then to Paula's point up front, this is a professional job.
Right.
This is my job.
Not
I'm
a beginner.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not walking in here having watched a few episodes of Love It or List It.
From the couch. Yeah.
Right.
You're not a couch.
So, and again, it goes back to that analogy of like, you don't watch the Indy 500 on TV and think to yourself, I have a driver's license.
Again.
So I can be a professional race car driver too. Right. Just because you have just because you have a driver's license and you can drive your own car for your own personal use does not make you a professional driver, no matter how much TV you watch.
Are you looking right at him while you say this, Paula? Because again, Doug thinks that. You're crushing his ego.
Ruth would like to have a drive. You know what? We should let Doug drive for one episode instead of having Ruth, the realtor, drive us. I'd love to hear that.
A lot more territory.
For people that don't listen to Stacking Deeds, Ruth, the realtor, is taking them around looking at rental properties, and Doug's in the trunk as the narrator on that show as well. Len, do you stay at Airbnbs? You ever stayed at Airbnb versus staying in a hotel?
Yes, I have. I guess. Does it technically count as an Airbnb? I stayed at Greg McFarland's place, actually. I can't remember if he was using it I think he was at the time out there in Maui that he used to have. He no longer has it, but yes,
Did he gouge you? Did he gouge you?
Actually, no. No, he did not. I'm not even going to joke about that. No, he gave me a great deal. What a good guy he was.
That's very nice. Paula, did you stay at Greg's place too?
I stayed at his place in Las Vegas, not his place in Hawaii.
So Greg making money off a bunch of the Stacking Benjamins team.
Well, actually, he let me stay at his place for free. So.
Oh, nice.
Oh, hey, wait. Awesome. Well, that's a better deal than I got. Jeez. I take it back.
You can see where you rate, Len. Yeah. Right. So let's end this then with short-term vacation properties. Crystal, back to you. For a beginner, do you go into the short-term vacation property?
I think it's a big learning curve, but it's doable. We had Lauren Keen-Amond on, and we had another expert at this. I'm not an expert at the short-term rentals. And I don't have an Airbnb account. I've stayed at other people's Airbnbs, but I've never been moved to I like hotels. But as an investment strategy, I think you need to know the rules, because some condo associations, they don't allow it. Some neighborhoods, they don't allow it. I know there are a lot of rules. A lot of people don't love them. So if you're going to get into this, it is a great way to make money, but just make sure you know the rules. So that way you're buying something that you know. So just know the rules is what piece of advice I'd give for the short-term properties.
It just feels like, well, and Lauren Keene, listening to her talk about all the tools she uses and how she does it, again, not going in there without a bunch of, I mean, she's got a whole system for how she does it. And Paula, I feel like this is competing. You're not competing against long-term landlords. You're not competing against Marriott. You know, Marriott kind of knows what they're doing. I look at short-term vacation properties, and if I'm going back into real estate, it's, I don't know, fix it and flip it's probably the last one. This is the next to last one I go into.
So I used to be what's referred to as a super host on Airbnb.
Wow. Do you know who I am?
Wow.
Superhost is simply a designation that they give to somebody once they've achieved X number of visits. They've hosted X number of guests in Y increment of time, and they have an average of Z star rating. So
that's funny, because I was listed as a super pest, which meant I was kicked out of many of those. So
Uber won't even pick up Len anymore because his review on Uber's so bad. Yeah.
But I say that because I can speak from experience. Being a short-term rental host is complete apples and oranges from being a long-term buy and hold rental property owner, landlord. Owning a rental property is analogous to owning a commodity, whereas being a short-term rental host, an Airbnb or a VRBO host, is analogous to being in the hospitality industry, right? So, Joe, when you were talking about Marriott, you're absolutely correct. Hosting an Airbnb is comparable to competing against a hotel. You're competing against Marriott, against Hilton, and certainly you're offering something that's a little bit more boutique. But you are still creating a nightly guest experience. For example, you are responsible for making sure that the toilet paper is properly stocked. Toilet paper, dish soap, paper towels, kitchen sponges, soap, shampoo, right? Like those are
the
not
quarter
things.
Machine next to the bed.
Hey, Paula, did Greg supply you with toilet paper at your place? Because when I was...
Was it BYOTP?
BYOTP.
He really likes her better.
Right. If you are a landlord, your tenants are not calling you to say, I can't find the ironing board. But you get that when you're a short-term rental host. That's why we're talking about such completely separate industries that it is a reflection of the writer's lack of knowledge that this writer would even list those in the same article. That does not make any sense. That is like saying that because you can talk into a microphone as a podcaster, that's analogous to singing into a microphone as a professional singer. Sure, we're using the same tool. We're using the same microphone.
That's a bridge too far right there.
Back that trolley up, sister.
I can karaoke.
Let's go, Crystal. Let's go.
You ever had 3 beers down at the Sizzler?
I'm all about the karaoke.
I can sing amazing after 3 beers at the Sizzler. Yeah. Nobody's told me that. I just know. Right. I do. I think that's a great place to wrap this up, because I also think real estate can be fantastic. It just, for a beginner, I'm glad that I think all of you really nailed the point. There is a lot to know versus, I think, Len, to your point, you can get into an index fund and maybe just lose a little money. But man, you lose it with a lot less time invested than you do if you own property. We'll link to this piece on our show notes page. We're also going to link to what all of you are doing. We'll have our guest of honor go last, but let's talk about what's going on at lenpenzo.com.
Wait, I'm not the guest of honor? What does that say? I'm telling you.
Again. He's like, he gets no respect from Greg, gets no respect from Joe. By the way, I don't charge Paula to be on the show either.
Okay. Hey, at lenpenzo.com, This week, we're talking about finding unclaimed money. You might have, I don't know if you know this, but lots of people have hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of dollars in accounts that they've completely forgotten about, or refunds or what have you. They're just sitting there waiting to be claimed. And there are actually websites where you can go check out if you have some money waiting for you. And I list all these websites you can go check. I found $185,000 waiting for me in unclaimed funds. So I figured I want to share that with you guys.
Wait, 185,000?
No, not really. But I was hoping that would just entice everybody else to show up to my...
Goodness.
Len, I was actually thinking the opposite. I'm like, how dumb are you to misplace $180,000? Because I would surely notice.
I actually had $0. I had $0, but there was an Enzo Penzo or somebody like that name close to my name that had some money waiting for them, but not me.
Old cousin Enzo. You should let cousin Enzo know and just take like a 15% cut. You know what I mean? It's like your, yeah, right, Crystal. Paula, what's going on at the Afford Anything podcast?
On the Afford Anything podcast, we talked to Stanford economist Nick Bloom about work from home, remote work. So he talks about how that's affecting real estate, how it's affecting productivity, creativity, collaboration, how it affects your happiness at work, at home, in your life. So that's on the Afford Anything podcast. Plus, Joe, you and I answer questions that come from the community. And soon, you and I are putting our faces on YouTube for answering those questions.
Didn't have to scare everybody by telling them my face was going to be on there.
Trying to break YouTube.
I think people will be able to tell which is which very, very quickly. Yeah. Paula, also, you do a real estate course. Is there some way people can get on a waiting list? Can they get information?
Yes, absolutely. So I have a course. It's called Your First Rental Property. It is, as the name implies, for beginner rental property investors. And we offer the course typically twice a year. We don't know exactly when we're going to be offering it this year, probably in a couple of months. But there's a wait list, affordanything.com/VIP list. So you can go there, you can join the wait list and find out when we will be releasing it next.
And Crystal, thanks so much for finally being on a roundtable episode. It's been too long.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun.
So what is coming up on the Stacking Deeds podcast?
So coming up, we have an episode where Alan and I are just talking on tips on how people buy their first piece of real estate property. And we have a roundtable also coming up because a lot of people, if they're going to buy an older property, we brought some handymen and women on to talk, expenses and, timelines of what needs to be fixed and things like that. So, and then Joe's done an interview that'll be coming up on one of our episodes too. We can't wait to share that one
I can't wait for people to hear that one.
All of that detail, and never once did she mention that I was going to be there too.
How can we forget our VIP? Our VIP special guest every episode is Doug.
All that and Doug.
All that.
At the Stacking Deeds podcast.
And Doug.
That's it. That's all it takes. I'm not asking for much.
There it is. Oh, boy. Thank you so much, Crystal, Paula, Len, for hanging out. Thanks to everybody hanging out with us today. I think that's where we're going to leave it. Doug, I think you got it from here, man. What should we have learned today?
Well, Joe, first, take some advice from our panel and take advantage of real estate investing to build your wealth. Just be sure to educate yourself before diving in. Second, if you're thinking of jumping in the game for the first time, consider house hacking with 4 or fewer units. There are a number of government programs that can help you get started and avoid falling into the Len Penzo math. But the big lesson? The real estate thing can be tricky if you're trying to find a good tenant. Pro tip, don't advertise your property while the carnival's in town. Stinky the Clown has a different sense of personal space than you do. Trust me. Thanks to Crystal Hammond for joining us today. You can find her new podcast, Stacking Deeds, wherever the finest podcasts are found. The finest! We'll also include links in our show notes at stackingbenjamins.com. Thanks to Len Penzo for joining us today. You can find Len at lenpenzo.com/slumlord. Thanks also to Paula Pant for joining us today. You can find Paula's podcast, Afford Anything, where you're listening to us right now. This show is the property of SB Podcasts, LLC, copyright 2023, and is created by Joe Salcihat. Our producer is Karen Repine. This show was written by Lacey Langford, who's also the host of the Military Money Show, with help from me, Joe, and Doc G from the Earn and Invest podcast. Kevin Bailey helps us take a deeper dive into all the topics covered on each episode in our newsletter called The 201. You'll find the 411 on all things money at The 201. Just visit stackingbenjamins.com/201. Tina Eichenberg makes the video version of this show. Once we bottle up all this goodness, we ship it to our engineer, the amazing Steve Stewart. Steve helps the rest of our team sound nearly as good as I do right now. Want to chat with friends about the show later? Mom's friend Gertrude and Kate Yunkin are our social media coordinators, and Gertrude is the room mother in our Facebook group called The Basement. So, say hello when you see us posting online. To join all the basement fun with other stackers, type stackingbenjamins.com/basement. Not only should you not take advice from these nerds, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, speak with a real financial advisor. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor Doug, and we'll see you next time back here at the Stacking Benjamins Show.
Welcome to the after show. Len, we're recording this about a week before people hear it. What did you do Father's Day weekend?
I did absolutely nothing. I sat home and watched golf.
You didn't grill?
That's it.
What a lazy
Yes,
person.
actually, well, I did. I did grill, yes, after the golf was over.
Okay.
I did grill.
Yeah, but Crystal, is Dad supposed to grill Crystal or is somebody supposed to grill for Dad?
The dads all get together and grill. Like in Chicago, that's what my family does. All the dads get together and grill in the park. Isn't that cool?
And by the way, the noise in the background that people are hearing, they're wondering what's going on. Is Paula doing surgery on her equipment as we're recording this before you record the episode? Because apparently Paula Pant's never podcasted before.
I think she needs a hammer.
I don't know if she can hear us.
I can totally hear you. I couldn't realize you could also hear the sound of me trying to shuffle cables around.
You were muted when you didn't want to be muted, and not muted when you should have been
Blank
muted.
out the video, but we can still hear you.
I still don't seem to be coming through the mic, and I don't know why.
You do not. We know why, because you have it hooked up wrong.
Control Alt
Is the
delete.
microphone on? Is the on switch on the microphone?
I didn't turn my on switch.
I don't think there is one on the mic that Paul and I use. I don't know that there is a separate.
How great would that be, though?
On.
I think that would be great if the microphone just weren't
Have
on.
you tried plugging it and unplugging it?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
You guys remember the old microphones that came with those tape recorders? Like when you were a kid, did you ever have a tape recorder?
Yeah.
We used to have the old.
You could wear it. You can strap the whole tape recorder and carry it
He's
around.
going a little further back than that, Crystal.
Oh, the tape recorder. It had the carry.
Yeah.
We've been recording for 2 minutes and Len already has the old guy microphone
I
story.
guarantee you that the one Len is thinking of.
Hey, I was a precursor to the podcast. I used to do little shows on the microphone. I mean, on the tape recorders when I was a kid. We would record shows on
I did too.
Did you do that?
We had this baseball board game, like Status Pro Baseball, and organized it into different teams. And my brother and I would call the games as we were playing it.
That's awesome.
And we made fake commercials and the whole.
Do you still have the tapes?
No.
Oh man, that would be worth something.
That would be good.
How would you play them?
Yes, exactly, Crystal.
Yeah,
even if you
how
have
would you play
those
'em?
tapes, you'd have nothing to play them on anymore.
I put it back in my
Hey,
Walkman.
hold on there, Doug. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right.
Your Walkman.
I still play my music. I have albums on cassette tapes.
You get 8-track?
Yeah, that too.
I had pocket rockers. Pocket rockers, place.
Hey, this is
where
a
the
family
music
show,
feel
Crystal.
the beat. No,
Come on.
They were like the mini music players.
Oh, yes.
Nobody,
Oh, that
yeah,
thing.
See? The pocket rockers.
I do remember that, but that was a thing for like a minute, though.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously,
one song at a time.
For
it didn't last.
Yes, but like a year or 2 years.
I was on that.
I remember seeing those and going, "Is anybody going to buy those?" And the answer was Crystal.
Yeah, I did. I had to save up. Well, we were a Betamax family too. We didn't go with VHS.
Oh,
we see how that turned out.
Always been on the cutting edge, huh?
Did we have a Pontiac too? I'm trying to remember.
Crystal, did you have the big boom box, or are you not old enough for that?
Yeah, I had boombox. Yeah,
Did you?
Yeah. I had one in my first car because my first car never had a radio.
Oh, well, okay.
I do not know what is going on with my mic. I went from coming in hot to not coming in at all.
You always come in hot, Paula. You don't. That's regardless.
God,
of...
she teed that up for you. Oh my God, she was waiting for someone to take a swing at that.
I like how Paula slowed down for it too. Like, wait, just set it up.
How bad is it?
Oh, it's pretty. It's pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
Can you reboot? Reboot.
Yeah. Let me,
with your
let me
mic
try.
plugged in, so that it might recognize it.
Control Alt Delete.
Throw it out the window and pick it up from downstairs.
Throw it out the window. That'll work.
All right. Let me try.
Yes.
Let me hang up and
Just
climb,
kick
come
it in the
back
side.
again.
Kick the
You
side.
got
of it.
nothing but time, Paula. So you just Joe, for another 5-minute piece of technology that I give you all the time about how you owned multiple Microsoft Zunes.
I remember that.
Yeah, I mean he
didn't
doubled
last.
down on it. He bought a second one, but anyway, I had the Sony mini disc. Do you remember that?
Yes, I
It
do
was like
remember the mini disc.
94 through 98.
Yes.
But it was the only digital recording back then.
We did buy, when I was a DJ, we bought CD singles.
Oh,
We
yeah.
had some CD
Yes,
singles.
I
that were
remember
like
those too.
Little CDs
Yes.
this big.
DJ Saul C High. What was your
DJ Saul C.
name? What was it?
It was
Jazzy Joe.
I was a
Jazzy Joe.
DJ Jazzy Joe.
All right, Lynn, you have to think of a name,
Wiki.
and then we see who was most correct.
It was funny. It was actually fun. Okay, yes. All right. And then I'll tell you the story of the DJ name I didn't have that I wanted. And everybody told me, no, you can't do it. And then this dude came out with the same damn name and was huge.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, think of a name, Lynn. You got to think of a name.
Fitty.
50 Cent. Yeah.
Jay-Z.
Had to be money related.
Right. Except mine was the white guy version. It was 50.
You enunciate every syllable.
Yeah, right.
50.
Gotta enunciate.
Let's get this party started, everybody.
Oh, shucks.
I'm your main man, 50.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
Who'd you like to thank?
Exactly.
It was going to be College Boy. Everybody's like, oh, God, you can't do that. I was in college. I was DJing all these basement parties and fraternity parties. It was College Boy. And everybody's like, no, that's stupid. That's dumb. And then there was a huge DJ on Sirius XM that would play. And he was DJ College Boy. And I was like, thank you, everybody.
Crystal, I was also a DJ in high school and college. And I dated a girl in Chicago in college. And I remember being up there and we ended up going to some club. She was talking about how, like, this is the best DJ I've ever heard. And I'm standing next to her. I'm like, I'm a
What am
DJ.
I?
And she looks right at me with all her friends around, dead ass serious, and said, I mean, a real DJ. Just crushed me.
She wasn't wrong. What was your DJ
She was not
name?
wrong. She was not wrong.